So I am excited because what I want to talk about today, we're always talking about money. We're always going to talk about money, business, all the good stuff. But today, we're going to remind ourselves a little bit about the concept of love. Ah, love. Now, it's not like love like you normally think about it, right? Where it's just like, oh, okay, like yeah, I love you, you love me, great, okay, love my kids, love my parents, yep, okay, blah blah blah. Because in and we're going to look at love as like almost two different types of love, okay? Because there's the part of us that of course we love our kids, of course we love our mom, of course we love our sister. Great, okay, sweet love. That's in law of attraction and manifesting in the world of energy. That kind of love is almost irrelevant, because the only type of love that is relevant, energetically relevant, is if we are flowing love out of our bodies. And this is really good to get. Okay. This helps. Getting this concept helps you with your partner, your kids, your business relationships, um, clients. It helps with everything. This is the concept of, is love flowing out of me right now? Am I loving right now? And so can you see how you could absolutely love somebody, but not be flowing love to them? I love you. Of course I love you. So blah, 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 blah. I love you. So I love you to death. I love you. And so I'm worried about you. I love you. So I need you to act differently. I love you. I love you. And so that means all of this other stuff. That means I'm justifying not flowing love right now. That means maybe I'm justifying worrying. So first of all, we all do this. We all do this in the beginning, okay? Or, period, whatever. So this is not meant to be like, oh, you're not actually loving anybody. No, no, no. This is such a good concept because we can ask ourselves in any moment, am I flowing love right now or not? Am I flowing love right now or not? Love is pure source energy. Love is the universe. Being loving means we are feeling ease in our body. It means we are smiling on the inside at people. It means that we are not worried, because as we are loving, what we cannot be doing at the same time is worrying, is demanding other people to be different, is being angry or anxious. We're either flowing love or we're not flowing love. And so really this ends up being the conversation really ends up being about unconditional versus conditional love. So we would like to think that we are unconditionally loving, because we would say to our kids, I love you unconditionally, because even if you murdered somebody, I'd still love you. Or you'd say, oh, I love you unconditionally, which means that like I will love you and be annoyed at you forever. I promise I'll stick around forever. So this idea of conditional, of whether we are loving or not, whether we are flowing love or not, really helps us identify, am I conditionally loving or am I unconditionally loving? So what this means is that we can, rather than being worried because we love or being angry because we love, that's not relevant to talk about anymore. The relevant thing is, am I flowing love at this person? Am I flowing love at this person? And to flow love at somebody is a calming, good feeling. You will know you're doing it if it feels good, if it feels like a breath of fresh air. You also can think of this, you can think about flowing love to things other than people. Like you could totally think about flowing love unconditionally towards yourself, towards your business, towards the resources you have. Because this is a concept of like, okay, in my current seat as I sit here, am I anxious and worried? Or am I relaxed? Am I looking at things I want to see? Am I appreciating? And so if we have kids who are maybe going crazy, doing whatever kids do, whether they're 4, whether they're 12, or whether they're 20, this is a great area to inspect ourselves, because until you intentionally flow love, we are often flowing annoyance or needing them to be different. And so if we want to be flowing love, we would need to intentionally start leaning into a narrative and an energy that we hold in our bodies that goes something like, you got this. You're on your path. I don't want to take you off your path. I trust in your relationship with source energy. I trust that contrast is working out for you as part of your process. I don't want to take your contrast away because I don't want to take your manifestations away. I know you can navigate this life. If it's a partner that you want to be flowing love to, it could sound like, maybe you don't say this out loud, but in your head, you can say things like, man, like I know that I see some people listening attentively right now. They're like, I'm ready to do things differently. I know I have 20 pages of documentation on why you've been a jerk. I know the entire world would agree with me, but I'm not here to play that game anymore. Even though there's 20 pages of documentation showing everything that you have done, I have somehow been a match to this. I have somehow been a match to you. I have been co-creating in this energy with you. I have been getting sucked into this energy. I have not been in control of myself. I've been very influenceable. That's a word. I've been hanging out with you in this energy. Usually there's like in a partnership where it's not going well, usually there's one person that just looks like dead guilty on paper and the other person just like totally seems like not guilty. But the reality is that we're always a match to what we're going through. We're always a match to it. And so I don't recommend trying to figure out how you've been a match, why you've been a match, how you could have deserved whatever happened. I don't recommend going there. That's not helpful. It's not helpful to try to go back in time and think about, how was I a match to this trauma, or how was I a match to this abuse? Not helpful. But what we know is that we are a match to everything in our reality. And a lot of times that match could just have been because of something from when you were a kid and tolerating it and not seeing red flags and seeing it. So it's not like it's not like you're manifesting abuse, right? It's not like you're manifesting the thing. It's always we're manifesting the emotion of the thing. So you could have 5 different people be treated poorly, and each one of them would actually emotionally experience something different. Somebody might experience anger, shame, unworthiness, just pure anger, just pure injustice. And each person is essentially manifesting the emotion of that thing, which likely started as something from a while ago, right? Something happened a while ago, that's in their point of attraction, and rather than pivoting, it grew. So you don't need to think about it as like, oh, I'm manifesting these bad things. It's just I'm manifesting how these things make me feel. And so if I've been chronically feeling a wave of injustice my entire life, the things that prove the injustice will get bigger and bigger and bigger over time. If you have had a undercurrent of unworthiness for 20 years, then you will be manifesting things that for you personally, it's always personalized, will help make you feel more unworthy. So you want to look at everything as the vibration underneath. That was a little, but so when we're sitting down, when we're interacting with our kids, our business partners, our employees, our partners, the question really is Am I flowing love? And if I'm not flowing love, could it be as easy as deciding to? Could it be as easy as saying, oops, I just have been practicing being annoyed for a while. Oops, I've been practicing being neutral or indifferent for a lot of the time. So can I just turn it on? And for a lot of us, we could just decide to turn it on. We could just decide to look at people who are usually annoying us, and we can make a list of 3 things we actually appreciate about them. We could maybe make a list of 20 things we appreciate about them. Even if it's a coworker that you can't stand, you could still make a list. You do have nice shoes, you are cute, and you probably do care about animals. Right? So you could take something super, super superficial like that, but you could be growing that towards them. And so you could sit down and you could practice like, okay, I want to have good interactions with this person. So let me just set a timer for like 2 minutes and go over like, but you do have nice shoes and you are cute and you probably do love animals. And you do have nice shoes and you are cute and you probably love animals. And if you go over that energy, even as superficial as that sounds, for a minute or two, that is you flowing love towards that person. That is you being able to love unconditionally. So, and then you could do that if you have a partner or a kid. It could be a really beautiful exercise to take 30 minutes and just be ranting out everything that you appreciate about them, everything that you love about them, every little thing, and go in detail and go in detail and go in detail. And so this is a good exercise. Am I flowing love right now? And if the answer is no, and you can't just turn it on, then we can figure out why not. And then if I were to ask you why not, you would write down the answer. You would write down the answer. I can't because they did this, 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 and this. And because I'm just so angry. And because it's been so long. Because I've tried so hard already. And we would want to acknowledge that that narrative is now not only your jail cell, but their jail cell. Somebody cannot act any differently than you believe they can. So you could have had somebody who was a complete asshole for like 20 years, and they went through some sort of transformation and are now doing great. But if the narrative in your mind is still, this person does this, this person's like this, then they can't fight the forces of nature. They are energetically forced to show up as you see them. So we then realize, okay, my story about the people I love is both of our jail cells. And the story I tell about them is energetically locking them to that behavior. And as I think about this person, I am not unconditionally loving them. I'm saying, in order for me to flow love at you, you need to be like this. And as long as we are conditional lovers, we have a very wishy-washy life with very interesting interactions with people, because now there's all these rules. Rather than saying, God, who I am on the inside is a lover. I feel good when I'm loving, and I do not feel good when I am not loving. Therefore, I'm going to be looking at all the opportunities I can to be flowing love. And when I cut myself off from that stream, I'm cutting myself off from the energy of the universe. I'm cutting myself off from the intel that the universe gives to me in the form of impulses and ideas. I'm locking myself down low. We don't want that shit. We don't want that shit. So the idea is then to start maybe taking an inventory. You know, it could be interesting to take a week or two of just observing yourselves. Who are we annoyed at? Who do we need to change? Who do we feel like we need to, oops. Oh, there we go. Who do we feel like we need to be different for ourselves? And I really understand this. So my relationship, so most of you guys know, about a year and a half ago, I went through a conscious decoupling of a partner I was with for like 13 years. So it was like, it was a long time. Had our daughter together and everything like that. And so, and that process took 2 years. That process for that relationship, I'm like, they could be downstairs. I don't even know right now. I think they went to the park, so I think we're safe. So that process was a long process for me because after I had my baby, my partner very much seemed to change. And on paper, it very much seemed like I was totally innocent and she was like the worst. Okay. And so I was like, oh my God. But I also know that something happened like in my pregnancy where I really just wanted somebody else to do the work. I was just like, I'm tired. I've been doing all the energy work for like all the years. Like, I want somebody else. And basically I had decided that I wanted to stop carrying that. I don't recommend that decision. It didn't work out very well. So then it was really, really rough. And by the time like it was bad, I was just like, oh my God, I need this to stop. I need this to change. I need you to be different. I need you to be different. And I was out of my groove of doing energy work, and doing everything that I've been doing for a long time. But I was observing myself. I knew exactly what I was doing. I just didn't have the energy or hadn't made the decision to like stop doing that. I was just observing myself. I was observing myself, asking her to be different so I could be okay. And it was like really, really hard because I did need her to be different because I was being conditional. I just wasn't in a place I wasn't in a place for me that I wasn't ready to do the work. I knew what I needed to do, but I wasn't ready to do it. I also let myself off the hook for that. I was also like, this is the situation right now, and we're gonna have to like wait this out a bit. Like I'm not gonna beat up on myself for being in a rut, in a dip, for doing this. I'm gonna just do the best I can. I'm gonna be really thinking about when am I gonna be ready to do this work? And it really took like maybe a year and a half or so for me to say, okay, I am gonna stop asking her to be different. I'm going to stop asking for all this stuff to stop because I don't want to be conditional. I want to be able to show up in my best self, and period. I want to be able to show up in my best self regardless of what you're doing. So when I finally made that decision though, I was like, oh man, this is now on me. So this is going to take however long it's going to take. So it took at least, God, it must have been like at least 6 months of me actively catching myself needing somebody else to be different and actively coming back around to, okay, how can I reach my highest self? How can I reach my highest self? Because I knew for sure down here, I wanted the relationship to end. I was done. It was like, this is insane. But I also know to never make decisions down here. I also know that if I'm being conditional, it means that I'm not in my best energy, which means that I'm making decisions from crappy energy. So I knew that if I was going to have optics and clarity, I would need to make that decision from a really, really good place. And so what I was going to do is require myself to have sustained time in an unconditionally high place and wait to see what would happen, because I knew that energetically, as I was being conditional, as I was thinking about how she was and everything like that, I was manifesting the worst out of her. Even though there was 20 pages of documentation that the entire world would agree on that would prove that I was innocent and she was guilty. My attention to that behavior, my strong emotional reactivity to that behavior was co-creating that situation. I was a match to that situation. So I knew that I needed to be able to be in a really solid spot and wait for 100% crisp, clean, decisive clarity on what I wanted to do. And I wanted that clarity to come from feeling good rather than feeling like I had to get the hell out of there. So I'm telling you this to let you know that what I'm talking about is hard. Okay. What I'm talking, yes, I know what I'm talking about right now may seem impossible with some people. However, this is the work. This is what it looks like to be an unconditional lover. This is what it looks like to have emotional control out of yourself. This is what it looks like to have emotions that are stronger than what's around you, so what's around you can morph. So either the things in your things around you are either going to have a stronger energy than you and you get sucked into it, or you have a stronger energy and the shit around you gets sucked into you. It's literally like a video game. It's literally like we're going to battle with the world, and we're very much like, whose energy is going to beat out the other energy. And so if we come back to what is our energy is pure love. Our energy is unconditional love. Our energy is the energy of the universes. And so when we can get really, really good at flowing this universal love, regardless of what's around us, we are tapped in. We are super tapped in. And the ability to do this with whoever is like most difficult in your life is going to be also directly, that's like a skill that you are now going to bring into your business. That is like a skill to bring into the entire rest of your life. So to wrap this up, the idea here is for people that I think I love, do I really flow love? Do I really flow love to the people that I love? And so you could make a list. You could grab a piece of paper right now and write down the people that you love, or the people that you wanted to love, or maybe people you used to love. And you can just kind of skim through it and be like, generally, when I'm thinking about this person, and don't forget, it's also just your general energy towards them. It's not literally what you say or don't say. You don't get bonus points for not saying something snotty if your sentiment on the inside is snotty. So you can write this down and ask yourself, like, when I'm thinking about them, when I'm just sitting next to them, when I'm talking with them, is my general sentiment light and loving, or is there friction there? And if there's friction there, even though there's 20 pages of documentation that the entire world would agree on that it's their fault, if there is friction there, that would be our job to dematch with that energy. I just thought of this like concept today, which was just like unmanifesting the match, right? It's kind of a double negative, but essentially taking a look at, okay, if there's friction there, then how can I replace some of that friction with love? You don't have to be perfect all the time. I'm not perfect all the time. I'm not just totally flowing love to every single person, every single second of the day. I'm not just like perfect with my daughter, but I'm pretty damn good. I'm pretty damn good. And so I think that if we can just hold ourselves to like pretty damn good, try to be flowing love more than half the time and minimizing the rest of it, like that's a great start.